Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Shooters Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Matt at PostUp323. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. You can follow us on YouTube at the Shooters Lounge and follow us on socials at Shooters Lounge 3. And also follow us in podcast form on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. So today, NBA playoffs are still going. We're into round 2 now, so some teams' hopes have been dashed. They've gone out round 1. We're into round 2. There's definitely a lot of talking points, I think, guys. It's pretty safe to say. It wasn't done intentionally, but we've found ourselves with 2 Celtic fans on the same podcast. So I'm sure they're going to have thoughts on how the series is going at the moment. So we've got both returning guests. We've got George and Rob. Welcome back, boys. Good to see you.
Good to be here,
man.
It's really enthusiastic, guys. Love it. Very nice. That's just how we're feeling right now, I could imagine. But I'm sure we'll get into it at some point.
All I've got to say, mate, wait until we release the Kraken. That's when, that's when you're going to know.
The beast is lurking, ready to be unleashed. Yeah, guys, like I said, a lot to discuss. I'm sure we'll be covering Celtics in a little bit, but we're going to go west first, guys. So we're going to start with the number 1 seed, OKC Thunder, 4 seed Denver Nuggets. Currently series tied at 1 each. Nuggets stealing game 1, but then OKC tying it up in a bit of a blowout in game 2. So, George, what are your thoughts on this series so far?
Well, Matt, you obviously are aware the Thunder are my pick to win it all this year. They were before the playoffs started, even when my Celtics weren't in the hole that they found themselves in now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was the perfect answer to that first game loss. They've gone out there and they put up a record-breaking 87 points in the first half. Never been done before in a playoff game. I can't think off the top of my head. I actually thought at first, I've not actually read too much into detail, this must be the highest in an NBA game, period, or one of the highest score totals at halftime. If you stayed up to watch this game like one of my friends did, he went to bed at halftime because there was no point watching the second half.
Oh, dear.
It's a prime example, I think, of everyone's asked the question of this Thunder team, are they ready yet? Yeah, it's a good roster. They've got the pieces laid out. They've got good players across the court. There's no gaping holes in that team anywhere. But the question is the experience there? Are they primed? Are they ready yet? And then when they lost the first game to Denver, everyone started talking. And so, because there's a lot of non-believers. I know we said this last week, Matt, but there's a lot of non-believers in this Thunder team.
Mm.
And I think when they dropped the first game, everyone was saying, oh, well, here we go. This is going to be the test now. Can they get past Jokic?
Yeah.
And to come out and just utterly demolish them in the second game, I think that just shows that, look, the first game, it was a close loss. And Aaron Gordon doing it again at the buzzer.
Clutch Aaron Gordon. Who knew that was going to be a thing?
Never knew that was going to be a thing until now.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
At the end of the day, this is a good start for Denver. Let's not forget that. Thunder are the favourites, the 1 seed, all that good business. But Denver to split them on the road, and then they're coming back to the Ball Arena. We know it's a tough place to come and win. So, and I know AB was saying a couple of weeks ago about the crowd and stuff in what I like to call the Thunderdome, even though it's not its actual name. And how crazy they are, especially in the playoffs. They're not going to have that advantage now. So we'll see how much they've fed off that crowd. And I think it will be a different kind of game. But I still fancy the Thunder to just come rolling over and win the third game. I just think that the momentum from that second game is going to carry over. And for all the doubts about whether the Thunder can really stand up and be counted when the pressure's on for Denver, because, all right, they did well against the Clippers, but they're still coachless, essentially.
Yeah.
They've just got a placeholder as a coach. So, and that's no disrespect to the interim coach. It's just that he literally is just here for the playoffs. So he's had no input on the team whatsoever. So this will be a test for both teams, different kinds of tests on each side of the court. But I think for all the question marks, and obviously, Shea is doing what we said he was going to do. He's played into the playoffs. As it's rolled over, his averages are just going up and up and up every single game. So he's clearly rising to the occasion. And I think this is the series that will really test the Thunder. And we'll see really what they're sort of made of in this series.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Rob, what are your thoughts on the series?
I was surprised Denver got game one, to be honest, kind of like as George says there, like I think everyone after Denver went 7, they had 1 day off between game 7 finishing. And that's not just like the physical toll of it, the emotional toll of having to go through a game 7. Like, yes, they blew the Clippers out and were able to get some rest down the stretch, but the emotional up and down of having to go to a game 7, as most like Jokic alluded to it in one of his post-game press conferences. Like, if you love high quality basketball, you love attention to detail, this is the series. And it was as a neutral, it was great to watch. Like, when your team's not involved in a great series, and when your team is also not involved in a game 7 where your season's on the line, it's fantastic. Let me get my popcorn, let's go. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd say I was surprised Denver got game 1 because I thought Thunder were going to come out and make a statement straight away. Obviously, they swept Memphis. I was like, they got the rest advantage. They didn't have to travel anywhere after they got back from Memphis. Kind of just stick around. Denver had home court for game 7, then have to fly all the way to OKC, basically on no rest. But that shows just how good that team is. Yes, it's well spoken about how they've lost some key pieces of that title team from 2 years ago. But that core is still there with Gordon, Jokic, Murray, Christian Brown. Those guys are still there. They're able to still perform. So I was, in a way, I was more surprised by how good OKC were in game 2. I mean, like George said, that's a mark of a title favorite, that you're able to come out and stamp your authority and be like, okay, game 1 is a one-off. Like, this is what we're really here to do. 87 points in the first half is ridiculous. In a playoff game where your rotations are shortened, defenses of higher caliber, and you come out and drop nearly 90 in the first flipping 24 minutes. Like, what on earth? So, I mean, I'll be honest, I could see this going 7 again. Just because you've got the 2 MVP favorites. I would personally be having Nikola Jokic as my MVP, but if you want to have Shea as your MVP, I'm not going to argue with it on there. They're both have got really good cases to win it. As much, I think, unfortunately, voter fatigue will sit in. I think people will vote for Shea just because they want someone new to be MVP. But yeah, this series, I think Thunder have they've got the deeper rotation they can go into if they want to go there. Denver don't really have that depth because the owners have been worried. They've been worried about paying the luxury tax, and kind of we'll see it with some other teams this offseason, or as we get towards the trade deadline next season. Ownership are worried about the luxury tax and how restricted you are in terms of roster movement. So we'll see teams try to dip in and out of that second apron back under it. But yeah, I think overall, if we're going to keep this series, I can see this going 7 games. It's just going to be constant back and forth, and ultimately it is going to be down to Jokic and SGA about which one of them is going to step up when the moment requires them to. Both have had absolutely ridiculous years. They've put up some ridiculous stat lines. It's just going to be a case of when it comes down to it, which of those 2 are going to shine brighter, and also, is Jamal Murray going to step up for Denver? I've seen all the memes flying around of when he's not playing a team that's in yellow and gold and purple. It's he's not quite the same player. So we'll see if Jamal can come to the table for this series, because Denver are going to need him to if they want to get through this juggernaut that is the Thunder.
Yeah. Did you feel like, guys, that Thunder chucked away game 1, or did Denver kind of win it? Because there's certain people have different opinions on how this game ended, because it was a kind of chaotic ending in the end, wasn't it? With the Gordon with his with the 3 right at the end.
Well, I think just rolling on from what Rob's just said there. Yes, it's very draining in a game 7, but that momentum can still carry over. So you either have a hangover or you just stride into it. And I think what's ended up happening is because they were so short on prep, rest, whatever you want to say, they've not had a chance to process the previous series. So they've just kept rolling and they've gone into it with the same momentum. However, then having the time off in between, where they're in a different city and they've had a soft reset, that's maybe why we've ended up going and seeing them get absolutely hammered in the second game. It might just be a bit of a delayed reaction to the previous series, and that played out in game 2. I think there's a pretty fair argument for that.
Yeah.
I would probably lean towards more Denver winning it. I always want to try and give credit to the teams that pick it up, that can pick up wins and fight back from the death and win it. So I think I'd give that more to Denver. Like Jordan said there, the ability of, like you say, it's that rest versus rust debate, isn't it? If you are the team that has the rest advantage in terms of, yes, you don't have to go as far in the series, are you able to, get yourself revved back up and go again? Or if you are like Denver coming straight off of game 7 and having to travel, are you able to, like you said, just keep that momentum rolling? So I'd say I'd agree with George's line of because they don't have that time to process, they've had to roll on. They kind of were able to take that momentum into game 1 of this second round series. They've had the momentum going on. The thing I would say is, though, I wish the NBA would look into this and have a bit more rest, because that seems very unfair to whichever team came out of that game 7 between Denver and the Clippers. Whichever team came out of that 7-game series, having to fly. I mean, my geography is not great, so I'm not entirely sure of the distance between Denver and Oklahoma City, but
it's not that far, to be fair.
Still, the overall point remains, though, in terms of you don't have any sort of time. What if someone had picked up just a tiny knock they needed a couple of days to get over, but because they don't have it, it's ruled out for game 1. So that's the one thing. I get the NBA. Obviously, it's a business. It's money driven. The TV partners have paid lots of money for these series. They're able to dictate when the dates start. But for me, it just doesn't sit right that the first round can be spread out. Your second round and your conference finals are then really short, and then your finals are spread out again. Like, why can't we have like a more consistent across all series? Why can't we have, at least one, if not 2 between each game? For me, that just doesn't sit right. But yeah, overall, I think Denver won that game 1, but the Thunder came back massively in game 2.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, good bounce back by the Thunder. Like you say, combination, guys, of riding high from game 7 for Denver, and then maybe the Thunder being off just a little too much. So they off nearly a week, I think, weren't they? So that combination, 8 days. So having the combination of that, maybe they just weren't ready for it. But this is the playoffs. You've got to be ready, guys, haven't you? So shout out to Westbrook, man. Westbrook at the end of that game 1, man. The decision making. On another day, he's running to the rim there, and he's trying to get a layup or something. And he made the right decision, and he's found Gordon and the 3. I mean, if he misses, then it's going to be Westbrook's fault, because it always is. Murray was kind of wide open in the opposite corner, but I don't think Russ saw him. So, but Gordon made the 3, and the rest is history, isn't it? But like you say, lads, I think the Thunder set them, stamped the authority in game 2. Good comeback by them, and kind of just said, right, lads, normal services resumed. Going to be a very interesting game 3, gents, isn't it? For sure.
Like I say, I think this goes 7. I think just these two teams, the way everything's built, I think it's destined to go 7 games, and then we will see who comes out on top. And then that obviously then plays into the conference finals, who comes out of Minnesota or Golden State. Like, if either of those teams are able to get it wrapped up, if in any sort of rest period, it's going to be crazy. But yeah, I think just the way, Mark Daigneault's done an outstanding job. The interim coach for the Nuggets, I think, will end up getting the job permanently. We've seen it with Memphis. Got the job, and has been given it after getting a sweep in the first round. Kind of, I wonder if that's a little bit out of pity in a way, in terms of, yeah, we appreciate we put you in a very shit position, like giving you the job with like 2 weeks left in a first round, and 2 play-in games. Oh, you win the second one. Oh shit, you get Oklahoma City. Good luck. I wonder if they give it like okay, yeah, fair enough. We probably should give you a shot at the full-time role, but
great job interview. Yeah, we know you got sweat, mate, but here's a job regardless. Yeah, not bad, is it, that lads? In a results-orientated business, it's definitely did well with that one, man. But what did you think about Jokic in game 1, guys? 42 points, 22 rebounds. I mean, is that just regular?
It's boring now, Matt. Boring.
Is that where we're at? Which is like, whatever. And, I mean,
this man had a 30-20-20 game in the regular season, and people treated it like it was nothing. And it's like, I'm sorry, do you not understand how fucking insane that is?
Yeah,
but like
unbelievable.
30 points, and even to have 30 points on its own, it's fucking hard. To then even get like 5 to 6 rebounds is tough, and then like 3 or 4 assists is even like that as a stat line in itself.
Yeah,
the amount of stat lines you see from wings and guards that are 36 and 4, and you go, oh my God, they were insane. This is from a center who has been at the butt of all jokes for being out of shape. And he comes in and gets 30, 20, and 20 in a regular season game, and then drops 40 and 20 in game 1 of a playoff series. Like, this guy's greatness gets taken for granted by the NBA media, and it annoys me to an extent, because which other player have we seen do this?
Nobody.
Exactly. We are witnessing greatness. Show me the film. We got Jason Tatum high school football highlights before we got video package of the Wilt Chamberlain 100-point game. Like, I want that footage. But that jokes aside, like Jokic is just ridiculous. It pretty much is that. I mean, some coaches talk about as soon as you adjust, you're screwed. Like Jokic, there is no defensive plan for him because you can't guard him. Like whatever you do, he has about 3 counters for what you're going to do to him. So, the guy's just a joke. And like I say, he's my MVP. As much as people say, "Oh, that's boring," like he's won 3 out of the last 4 or whatever. It's like, so what? The MVP is the MVP. If the MVP, if the best player if the best player is the same best player for like 4 or 5 years, then he should win MVP. No, like, I don't understand where we got to the whole point of, oh, it's boring, we need to give it to someone else. Like,
it ain't boring if it's true, Rob, is it? I mean,
I'm gonna say we did that with Joel Embiid. All right, we gave him that one because it was a different player, and then what did Jokic come out and do? Win it the next year. Like, come on now.
Yeah, essentially it'd be like in the 60s, the Celtics winning it every year, and then the NBA just saying, well, I know you won the finals, but it's boring now because you win it every year. So we're actually going to give it to the runner-up instead. It's the same thing.
Yeah, betting without the favourite, isn't it, or something? Yeah, it's it doesn't make much sense. But so it's. I've said in the last round, if Jokic got through round 1, because I thought the Clippers were a better overall team. I thought if Jokic gets through this one, it's going to be a hell of an achievement. I mean, if he wins this series, guys, dragging this Denver team, who not much depth going on there, they're playing like 7 guys at most, sometimes only 6, really. It's going to be another feather in the cap of Jokic, isn't it? Surely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Matt, you said actually before the last round, if he manages to get through the Clippers, this might be just as impressive as when he won the chip.
Yeah, man.
Here he is putting it up to OKC in the second round.
Oh, mate, I might just give him the title after that, mate. If he beats this Thunder team, mate, I tell you what, you can have it, bro. You can have it, mate. Honestly.
To be fair, the West is an absolute bloodbath. So, like, as much as we could point fun at Lakers saying, "Oh, you got beaten 5 by a 6 seed," it's like Minnesota aren't your typical 6 seeds. Like,
true.
What was it? What was it? There was an insane stat that the top 6 in the East had their entire... So the top 6 were confirmed playoff teams before 3 to 6 in the West had it confirmed. You had OKC and Houston were confirmed, but 3 to 6 were still fighting until the final day of the regular season for seeding.
Yeah.
As like, the West is just an absolute joke in terms of how many good teams there are. So like... I mean, if Jokic gets through this, he's either got Anthony Edwards, who wants to get through to the finals first time, or he's got Steph Curry to play. Is there pick your fucking poison.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely should be a separate trophy for the West team who just make it to the finals these days with the teams they've got in, man, for sure. 100%. But moving on to the other West teams series, we've got Minnesota Timberwolves and Golden State Warriors. This one also tied at 1 apiece. Warriors taking game one, and then Minnesota coming back last night to level it up. This series dominated, unfortunately, by an injury. Steph going down in game one. Now confirmed he's going to be out for at least a week, maybe more. Rob, what were your thoughts on this series? How it's panning out so far?
As much as I have Steph Curry PTSD from 2022 and what he did to my Celtics, you just don't want to see injuries in the playoffs. Like Steph is, outside of maybe LeBron, is the greatest performer the NBA has. You know, which other player does shit that Steph does that gets the crowd out of their seat? Like no one does. So you never want to see a guy go down injured as much as you might, I'll put it this way: if this is in the finals, I'd be loving it. Like, yeah, please keep him out. Let's go. But as a neutral, the fact I've got no skin in the game in this series, I want to see Steph Curry shooting the ball from 35 feet and ripping the net. So just got to hope this series goes long enough that he can come back and make an impact. But this is kind of what Golden State. This is the massive risk they're taking by banking one, maybe two more runs out of this trio they've now got, an aging trio of Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Jimmy Butler. None of these guys are young anymore. They're all 35 plus. You've just given Jimmy a massive bag as well. You're gonna have to start looking to the future pretty quickly if you're Golden State. So, obviously Jimmy Butler pulled out the bag in game one, got them over the line. But the Timberwolves, we saw it when that year when the Warriors lost Steph and Clay to injury. Like, I think Clay had torn his ACL in the finals, so he was missing the whole year. And then Steph did his wrist, I think, about 10, 12 games in. And we just saw how much worse the Warriors are. So, Minnesota would have smelt blood. And they would have been, if the Golden State Warriors win last night, I think they go win the series. But the fact the Timberwolves are able to take care of business, blow them out to an effect, I think this now makes it a much more interesting series. We'll see if Steph can come back. I think there's been reported that if the series goes 6 or 7 games, he could be back. The back end of that, but it's the first time he's had this injury. So, there's always a case of, okay, you need to be a little bit more cautious when it's your first time coming back. You don't want to get to a point where you're playing through it and then make it worse. He's older as well, so body does take a little bit longer to recover. So, yeah, I never thought I'd be talking about how good Julius Randle is in a playoff game, but the guy was so good last night. It was, I think 11 assists is a new playoff high for him, or maybe even career high, let alone playoff high.
I think so, right? Yeah.
Obviously Minnesota got a bit flamed for the Cat trade in terms of you really chose the guy who can't have any offense over a guy who can shoot the three from just inside the opposition half. But they got off to a rocky start as well. So everyone was like, they made the wrong decision there. But fair play to Julius Randle. He's silenced the critics. He's turned it around a little bit. He's been an important part of this Minnesota team. And again, it's just kind of one of those ones where everyone thinks they'll go as far as Ant goes, but their ancillary pieces are really good. Like, they really match with each other quite nicely. They got that mixture of experience and youth in that team. So we'll see what the Warriors have to come back in San Francisco for the next 2 games. Obviously Steph's missing both, so a lot more falls on Jimmy Butler to kind of carry the offensive load. We've seen he can do it in the past with Miami, but he also had some better, better offensive pieces around him in Miami than he does in Golden State right now. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but this Draymond Green post-game interview clip that's been going around on social media.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what exactly I want to say about it, but I just can't believe the fact he's coming out and saying, I can't believe people portray me as an angry black man. Is they're like, Draymond, you have viewed the footage, right? You have literally stamped on people, had people in headlocks, like you punched your own teammate in training camp that got him traded from the team, and you fucked up a whole season of your career because you refused to apologize for punching your teammate in training camp, and that season was a wasted year for everyone.
Yeah.
I don't understand how he can stand there with a straight face and go, I'm not an angry I'm not an angry man. I'm there like, no, Draymond, you just are. Like, there's a reason why your own team has asked you to go to therapy to get to be seen. Like, so yeah, that just really.
Can we just throw in there as well that his actions, pretty much in his own words, basically led to Kevin Durant leaving the Warriors as well.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
As KD said to Draymond's face.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. He's a DPOY. He's a 4-time champ. He'll go in the Hall of Fame, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, I think Draymond's career, when we look back on it, is going to be one of those ones where everyone's going to remember the Splash Bros and be like, oh, yeah, they had Draymond Green as well. And it's like, I get it. Draymond can chat as much shit as he wants to me. He's made more money in 2 weeks than I'll ever make in my lifetime, blah, blah, blah. But like, as an NBA fan, like, come on now. Like, just the greatest fall down of people in our society is the people who don't realize when they're wrong. And Draymond said in what he said last night, like, I'm sorry, he is in the wrong for that. I'm not having it.
He might not be an angry man, but he does angry man things. Was the first thing I thought of. However you want to put that, I don't know, but that's what I mean, he's playing against a guy in this series who he literally tried to choke out one day. I mean, definitely bizarre. And
I also saw the clip of at shoot around. They've got a Warriors staff member in a Rudy Gobert jersey. While Draymond is practicing 3-pointers, he's got a staff member with his back to him. Yeah, and he's got like the Gobert jersey. And to be fair, Draymond actually made a lot of those shots, so I don't know if he just needs that to get him going. But like,
he needs that motivation.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's just weird.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was lucky he didn't get thrown out last night because he was like berating one of the referees after the elbow, whether it was deliberate
this is
or
the
not.
Other thing.
And the other guy would have been thrown out, mate. I think personally.
Yeah, but the fact is, Draymond Green, like they feel like they're entitled to give him a bit more leeway. It's like, no, it's not one rule for Draymond and one rule for everyone else. Like an elbow's an elbow. Like you say, anyone else of the entire how many players are in the NBA? Like, fucking 15 players on a roster, 30 teams. Like, you do the maths from there. Any single one other player does that, they are kicked out the game. Because it's Draymond Green, he gets a flagrant one and gets away with it. Like, I can't stand the bloke.
Yeah, he's only a couple of techs away, into as well, from a 1-game suspension. So keep an eye on that one, guys. Is he going to have that 1-game suspension before this series is over? I was a betting man.
Edwards was smart. He got his out before the regular season got finished. So he then got reset for the playoffs. Yeah. So he was smart.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Draymond's usually done that beforehand, hasn't he? To be honest, he's slacking in his old age. Who knows? George, you're sitting there very patiently, sir. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, not really too much to add. The one thing I will say, Rob, Julius Randle has had 8 other 11-plus assist games in his career.
Wow.
17 is his career high.
17? When was that?
Is that regular season or playoffs?
1 against the Magic in a regular season game where he had a 40-point, 18-assist triple-double.
Wow.
I'd forgot that, I'll be honest.
That was the season he won Most Improved Player. That was that season.
Yes. He was good. Yeah, man. He was good.
11 assists is a new playoff career high for him.
Yes, that's right. Anyway, the one thing I just while I've got the stat book out, the parallels between this series and the history books. There's only been 2 previous 6th seed, 7th seed playoff series.
That's right. Yes.
First one was in '87. It was the Sonics against the Rockets. Sonics won in 6, and then in 2023, very recently, was the Warriors as a 6 seed and the Lakers as a 7 seed. The series, the Nuggets went on to win the chip. So there's a lot of symmetry. I like symmetry. It makes me feel warm and cuddly inside. They both were decided in 6 games. Both times the 7 seed won. One previous occasion, the Warriors were involved. Could it happen again? Who knows? Obviously, it is a rarity just because of generally how the seedings work out. It's unlikely that the 2 and the 3 seed are going to get bounced in the first round. It happened this year. I think this just hinges on Steph Curry. If he can't get healthy, I can't see in any other season. If Jimmy was on the Heat, he could do it on his own. We've seen it happen before, but I don't think the cogs are turning because it was a mid-season trade and everything else. His feet aren't set here yet. I don't think he can do it quite yet with this Warriors team, sort of on his own, unless someone is going to step up massively, akin to a Gary Trent for the Bucks. I know he tried, didn't quite do it, but.
He did his best, bro. He did his best.
30-plus point games. Unless someone is able to do that, and no one really jumps off the page to me that's capable of doing it. Someone might go for 30-plus in one game, but to consistently do it across 2 or 3 until Steph gets back, I just don't think it's realistic. I think this could be done in 5. It's a big statement, but I just think the Timberwolves are all healthy. Yes, they've got to go to Oracle. It's not the easiest place to play. Everybody knows that. But I think it'll be 5 or 6. I would be very surprised if this goes to a Game 7. And if it does go to a Game 7 and Steph is back, whether he's playing with one hand or not, you saw that video between Cannon Curry and Steph at the end of the game when they lost. You don't want to get Steph Curry motivated. I still think he can produce the magic in a Game 7 like he's done so often before in the past. So you don't want to let it get to that. So I think if you're Minnesota, you need to nip this in the bud, get the games won while Steph's out, punish them. I know they're getting punished for an injury, but you need to execute it. And while the opportunity is there now, they need to grip it with both hands and take full advantage. Don't give chance for him to get healthy again. Because if he tries to force it and comes back in Game 5 or 6, which could happen, because I think on paper, this is a pretty good chance for the Warriors to get to the finals. I know we said it before, it might be the last chance, but this might really be the last chance now. And I think he's going to want to try and push through it. So it's vitally important that Minnesota try and win at least 2 out of the next 3 games. If there's a big number 3 next to the Warriors' names at some point in this series, I think it tips the scales. But I just think with the way they're playing as a team like they did against the Lakers. Everyone's playing for each other. They've got some great role players that are consistently putting up the numbers. And when one of them's misfiring, there's someone there to pick the scraps up. You saw in the Lakers game, DiVincenzo went off, McDaniels went off, then DiVincenzo went quiet, McDaniels went quiet. And then, last night, Alexander Walker, he had a terrible series against the Lakers.
Yeah.
And he went for 20 points last night. So there's always, I know we've said this before, Matt, haven't we? With deep benches where there's not a standout, and Naz Reid as well in the previous series. It's next man up, isn't it, off the bench? It's like, who's going to come off the bench tonight and make the impact? And it always seems like there's someone who can do it. And that is just so important in any playoff run. I think it probably will go to the Timberwolves, but we'll see how the injuries play out before I sort of firmly say it.
Yeah, like you say, man. The question mark's obviously on Curry, isn't it? Also, Ant-Man went out last night as well, didn't he, for it, and then come back out in the second half. He went over on the same ankle as he injured in the series before against the Lakers. The Warriors now need the old Jimmy Butler, the playoff Jimmy Butler that you Celtic boys have come across on several occasions, which you probably don't want to see again. So, that's the back's against the wall now. They haven't played Kuminga for most of the playoffs. Now they've got to play him because Steph's out. So that's a bit awkward, isn't it? It's like, we haven't been playing you. Now we kind of need you to come out.
I could go off on a whole tangent on Steve Kerr and his management. I'm not going to, but I refuse to believe that Jonathan Kuminga is not. I refuse to believe that he can't help this team.
No,
I refuse to. It's just a poor way of getting him involved. Unfortunately,
I know one man. Rob, sorry to cut you off. That definitely knows that Kuminga can't make a difference. There's one man that me and Matt definitely know that.
We're not telling the story again, George. We're not telling the story again. But no, you're right, Rob, mate. Yeah, I think he can definitely contribute to this team even before Steph was out. It was a very strange.
I think it's honestly
entirely.
I think he's now on his team option at the end of this year. I think it's team option for that 5th and final year of his rookie contract. If I'm Kuminga and his agent, I'm going to the Warriors front office and saying, please,
get me out.
Don't take the team option up. Trade my player, please, because it's very clear you are not using him. Like, Kuminga could be useful in so many other situations, but it's just the fact that it's Steve Kerr. He's got loyalty to the guys that he's been with. That's the one thing, we've seen there's been so many questions in the past with Steve Kerr about, does he get his rotations right? Does he make the best use of stuff? I don't think he's made the best use of Jonathan Kuminga throughout his 3-4 years. Kuminga was a good piece of that 22 chip that they won. And since then, his kind of career has gone nowhere. And it's kind of, but that doesn't happen because the player isn't trying or anything. Like, I saw a stat news for something out like, Warriors are 0-4 in the playoffs when Kuminga plays 20 plus minutes. And they're like, it's just typical bait. Like, it's not Kuminga's fault that the Warriors are 0-4. Like, overall, I just refuse to believe that Kuminga can't help this team. I think that's where it has to fall on the coaching staff to find better ways of getting him involved.
Yeah, I think he come on last night and I thought he was quite good. He come on and he kind of scored a few buckets in a row, and that they need that offensive spark, because at the moment, if the game goes over 100 points, the chances of the Warriors winning the game drastically reduces. So for them, they're loving the scores of going into the low 90s and mid 90s. That's where
so they want it to be a dogfight. They want it to be a dogfight because without Steph Curry, you are not winning a shootout. Like,
no, that's it. Are they going to make the next 2 games just god awful? Just going to be really disjointed, and make it like a mucky game. Like, I don't know. It's
so they've got Buddy Hield, but Buddy Hield blows hot and cold very regularly. Draymond and Jimmy aren't floor spacers. They work best in the post or in open court. They can't shoot you can't rely on them to shoot the 3 well. So having Steph Curry on the floor is the ultimate reducer, because Steph Curry can nail it from anywhere on the floor, really. But like I say, you take him out, he's out the equation. Your margin for error, which is already pretty small in the playoffs, is now almost non-existent. Like, any error that you have gets massively, massively exposed when Steph's not out there.
And when you revolve your offense on one guy and then the guy's not there anymore, it totally changes now. And I'm not sure they've got anybody who's running the offense now. Now Steph isn't there, or you're revolving it around Steph. He works so hard off the ball. Steph does it if he hasn't got the ball, and unless he's dribbling up as well.
It's the gravity Steph has. The amount of how many times we've seen it over his 15-year NBA career that Steph gives the ball up, but the entire defense is you've got your own individual man you're guarding, but you're just looking at where the fuck is Steph Curry? Like, where's he going?
yeah.
Like, and ultimately it's that gravity that he has, that he commands 2, if not 3, if not 4 sets of eyes on him at once. And the fact you don't have that now, Minnesota get to breathe a hell of a lot easier on defense now that Steph's not out there. So, like Jordan said, they now need to. They took care of immediate business and they got the series level at the first attempt. They now need to go to Oracle, and like I said, if they can come away with that with 2 road wins, then they'll be through.
No, absolutely. And any more to add, George?
The only thing I will say about Kuminga is he's not a floor spacer either.
No.
Shoots very, very, very poorly from three. He's about 30% for his career from three. So he's not a floor spacer either. The only thing I would say about Steve Kerr is we talked about it, didn't we, Matt, with the Quinton Post introduction in the Rockets series. I know there might be question. I hear what you're saying, Rob, and I get where the question marks come from with certain players, and if they're not being utilised effectively, things like that. The only thing I would say is that he will try different things depending on the matchup. Quinton Post played 3 minutes last night. That was nowhere. He was playing 15, 16. He had a high of 23 minutes in the Rocket series. Clearly, this isn't the series that Steve Kerr wants to use him in, so he's just going to hook him and not use him, and now Kuminga gets a chance. So Steve Kerr is very much someone you've just got to be ready for, because he might ask for you at any given moment to come in there and make a difference. And that's what you have to. That's what people should know playing for the Warriors is that you don't know when that opportunity is going to arise, and when it comes, you're going to have to take it. And if you can do what I know, we spoke about him, Matt, a couple of weeks ago about like with Andrew Wiggins. That was his career highlight, was that playoff run with the Warriors, and no one saw that coming. But it's because he got the opportunity at the right moment and he took it with both hands. And that's what you've kind of got to do, really, I think, with Steve Kerr, because he's very set around these guys. It's worked for him for so long. Why would he change it now? That's the way I see it. I just think that it's consistently worked over the last decade or more. He doesn't need to change it. And that's why
it does help when you have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant on your team. I'll counteract that.
Absolutely.
I could go on a full rant about Steve Kerr for a very obvious fucking reason, but I'm not going to, because we'll be here all day. But I get what you're saying, George. But like, for me, there are certain things that for me I look at as a coach, or I look at him as a coach and go, there are some obvious shortcomings here. And you listen to how some of the Warriors fans talk about him; they know it as well. They have had severe questions about him over the time. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like every player is outside of that regular rotation. We all know playoffs. You might run a 9-10 man rotation in the regular season. Everyone knows when the playoffs come around, at least two of those players are dropping out of the rotation. It's just which players and, like you say, specific matchups will come into it a lot more. But I just don't think Kuminga. Again, Kuminga is a very specific circumstance, but I just don't think Kuminga. I don't think Kuminga should have this amount of limited minutes. I think he's just too talented not to.
Yeah, he had 26 minutes last night, which is the longest he's played in a good while, I think, for the Warriors. Kerr played 14 guys last night. He went deep into the bench, mate. He was almost calling up Steph Curry, who was sitting on the bench there. So, he went deep to the. Even Kevin Knox was getting minutes last night. So that's the game was never really in doubt last night. I thought it was kind of over by halftime, really. I mean, the Warriors made a bit of a run. I think they got to within like 9 or 10, but I don't think the Wolves were in any kind of danger. Like you say, big question mark is if Steph's going to be back, and I don't think he's going to be back in any kind of condition where he's going to be as good as he usually is. So it's going to be a struggle now for the Warriors, and something's drastically got to change on how they've been doing it now for him to advance. But you don't want to give them a chance because they're experienced and they've been in big games and they've won championships, a lot of them players. So if you're the Timberwolves, you kind of got to, take advantage of it now and see it out as best you can. But game 3 coming up, so that'll be fun to tune into. So we move to the East, and we'll start with the number 1 seed, the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers shocking the NBA world and taking both games in Cleveland. They lead 2-0. Nobody understands what's happened. Cleveland's fantastic season is, well, it's up in smoke right now, and there's a lot of soul searching for Cleveland now as they go back to Indiana for games 3 and 4. George, What are your feelings on this? Are you shocked? Are you not shocked? Where are we at, bro, with this one?
Well, I'll just say this, Matt. It's kind of my own fault because before game one, I was watching it and I've looked at the roster that Cleveland had and I thought about everything and all the different intricacies and the bits and pieces. And I said to myself, I'm not worried about these in the finals for a team that we're going to discuss very shortly. And
oh dear.
Put that to the side. I've got a bit of a point at the minute because of the way this series has turned out.
Yes,
but it's as simple as this. It comes down to coaching, in my opinion.
Okay.
You've got Rick Carlisle, who for years I've never understood it, has just been criminally underrated by the entire league. I've never understood it. He's a championship-winning coach, and it seems like no one even really knows. There was a poll done 2 years ago when he got the job in Indiana. It might have been 3 years ago now. He was the least recognized championship-winning coach in the last 40 years of NBA basketball. So in the modern era, less people name Rick Carlisle as a championship-winning coach than anybody else. So that just goes to show on how underappreciated he is. Now, the one thing I will say is that for all the talk about, Cavs Landing, they've got their own nice coach now, and it just, for me, I think it's me because obviously we spoke about it, didn't we, with Kenny Atkinson not long ago. He's never done it in the playoffs before. I know he's had limited opportunities, but he's had opportunities, and there's been a few upsets, that have crept up when you look into his CV that you think he should have probably won that one.
Yeah.
Could it be happening again? The way that the Pacers play the game, it's almost you can't counter it. If they have a really bad night, then that's how you win. But that's just not been happening. They've been consistently putting up numbers the whole postseason so far. They're all consistent. And because I think it's almost the fact that they've not got someone that is putting up 30, not a single player in this team is averaging 25 or more points. Nobody.
He's averaging 20 on the other thing.
In the entire postseason. So Siakam's actually averaging 20.2. So he's just above 20. Apart from that, Halliburton's up at 18.6. Apart from those guys, no one's putting up big numbers. But the thing is that they're all consistently contributing across the board. And that doesn't happen very often. It certainly doesn't usually result in winning basketball.
Very balanced, isn't it?
Usually you look at it and you say it's too balanced to win a series because who's that one guy who's going to step up? Well, they don't need anyone to step up because they've got the best, outside of Nikola Jokic, playmaker in the league in Tyrese Halliburton. I don't care what anybody says. He is the best playmaker in the league outside of one Nikola Jokic. But in terms of a facilitator, a facilitating guard, there's no one else I don't think can compare to him. And that is why, for all the hate he gets and everything else, people think he's corny and all the rest of it. Well, look, I don't care how corny you want to be. If you're going to put up numbers that are going to help us win this game, and we said this for years, how many teams have we spoke about on various shows about over the last 3, 4, 5 seasons where we've said if they just had a playmaker, if they had a creator, that would be enough. And I think this just goes to show the importance of having someone who can play make, who can create offensive plays for you. It can make a massive difference, even if you've not got an elite offensive option. So, for me, I'm surprised it's 2-0. Don't get me wrong. I am surprised. I thought Cleveland had bounced back, but even Mitchell, 48 points he put up the other night. For back-to-back games, he was 1 of 11 from 3. So that's 2 games in a row. Now, you might look at that and people, box score watchers and everything else will look at that and think, he put 48 points. Who cares what he did from 3? Well, the thing is, he had a massive shot late on in that fourth quarter where could have put Cleveland up by 7 with about, 56 or 57 seconds left? That probably definitely alters the ending. but it probably swings. They maybe just scrape over the line. And he clipped the rim, missed it. And I'm just thinking it's because he's got no ability in his 3-point shot whatsoever at the minute. He just keeps trying it, but you're thinking, I know that obviously this is a bit of a precursor. But
I'm just going to bring you back to this point in a minute when you move on. But
you are thinking if you're able to get 48 points in other ways, don't be putting up 11. Don't be putting up 11 tries from 3. You don't need to. Because you're getting in there every time. The main thing is the Garland injury for Cleveland. I think this is now really becoming evident that Ty Jerome can't produce at that level in the playoffs. I don't think anyone expected him to.
No.
Bruce isn't good enough to be out there as a starting 2 guard, and as a result, they've now got a gaping hole in that backcourt. And that is definitely, I mean, when you consider how close these 2 games have been, that is, in my opinion, unquestionably why they are 2-0 down. Because they're only losing these games by a hair. Mobley's been stepping up big time. You know, his offensive evolution over the last season has been pretty remarkable. He's been stepping up offensively. You know, he got 20 points in the first game.
He was out game 2, wasn't he?
Yeah. And then he missed game 2.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you've now got 2 gaping holes in that Cleveland team.
And then they got Hunter out too, so they got 3 contributing guys then. And you're like,
all of a sudden, it's just starting to go wrong, and it's a shame because I think if Mobley plays like in the second game, they win that. They're missing, and with Mobley and the fact that his offensive game has now evolved to the level that it's at the minute, they're missing a 2-way player now, and it's someone who he's the current DPOY, and you're missing that on your team, and you're only losing by a hair. It is so frustrating for Cleveland that they're 2-0 down in such a fine margin, akin to another series that we're going to discuss. This is largely out of their control. I think there's not a lot you can sort of do really. I think especially in the second game, but you can't slow this Pacers team down. They're going out there and they're it's very reminiscent of D'Antoni's 7 seconds, right?
Yes,
being that quick with it, except this time it's working. So,
you had to put that in there, didn't you? You had to stab me with that one, didn't you? Oh, come on. We won a couple of series, man. Come on, man.
Well, this is all of a sudden, you've got Pacers fans out here thinking, we might get to the finals, we might be able to sneak in there. Because, look, we're going to the 1 seed, regardless on the injury situation, the scoreline says 2-0, and you've won both games on the road.
Yeah.
You know how loud Indiana gets. You know what a hostile environment that is. I mean, look at what happened to the Bucks. All of a sudden, they all just they combusted, didn't they, with all the sort of hostility from the crowd. And I mean, this is going to be tough. I think this is a tough road back for Cleveland, especially if these. Garland was rumored to be back for game 3. That's very doubtful at the minute. I don't know what's going on with Mobley, but if they miss game 3, it's going to take another 48 point game from Donovan Mitchell, and even then, is it going to be enough?
It's tough from here, mate. I was really looking forward to this series, bro. If everybody's healthy, I was really looking forward to this. I thought this was going to go like 7 games because this is going to be a real dogfight, I think, because of Cleveland, of what season they've had. And then Indiana just seems like they've just got this belief. They just believe in themselves and what they're doing and what they do and how they do it. And, they were down 20 in game 2. They were down 7 with like 48 seconds to go. And it's like, how Cleveland haven't seen this out. They couldn't get the ball in bounds. Like, they were interceptions. They were chucking the ball away. Like you said, George, Mitchell was ridiculous in game 2. I mean, there wasn't much more really that Mitchell could do. You've done your bit, mate. You've got to have somebody else kind of come with you in terms of, somebody contributing. Like you say, missing Garland's a massive thing. I think he makes that team work and the offense work. So not having him there is a is a big loss. I never want to see any injuries on any teams, mate. I want to see the teams with everyone available, and then there's no excuse then. Have Indiana been fortunate over the last couple of years that they've met teams at the right time with injuries and things? Maybe, but you can only beat who's in front of you, gents, can't you? So, and Halliburton, all the talk of the last week or so is overrated according to other players and things, but he's kind of replied to all of that with, a clutch performance and a game-winning 3 for Game 2, and giving it the old Sam Cassell. Billy Big Balls, mate. I mean, that's a throwback right there, mate. I was appreciative of that one. But George, excuse me, Rob, what were your thoughts on this one?
I'm not surprised Indiana stole one game on the road, because me and George remember from last season, like that Eastern Conference Finals, Reeds is a 4-0 sweep. It felt like anything but a fucking sweep. They had us on the rocks for like 3 out of those 4 games. So they were leading by, I think they were leading by about 6 with 40 seconds to go in Game 1 at TD Garden.
Yeah.
Game 2 was the only game that we kind of won comfortably, if you can say that. Like Games 3 and 4 were an absolute fight to the end, like Indiana just refusing to go away. So I'm not surprised Indiana picked up Game 1 or just one game on the road in Cleveland. I was expecting it, but I was not expecting them to have both games in the bag going back to Indianapolis. I mean, I saw a stat, I think the other day. It was like Andrew Nembhard in the regular season had no games with multiple 3-pointers made.
Yeah.
In 7 playoff games this postseason, I think he has about 5.
Love it.
How pissed would you be as a Cleveland fan if you saw that stat? Like, as an Indiana fan, you fucking love it, because it's the definition of a playoff riser, a guy who takes his game to the next level when the lights are brightest.
Yeah.
Aaron Nesmith, me and George know well, did not work out on the Celtics, didn't get an opportunity to show himself, but got traded to Indiana. They found a role for him. He was able to reinvent himself as a 3-and-D player. And he's now doing really well. Got a bag last offseason. Well deserved to him. I'm happy to see him thriving. Miles Turner continues to just be that solid, reliable presence in the middle. It will be interesting to see what happens this offseason, because I believe he's out of contract.
Right.
And Indiana are lurking towards that apron. So whether ownership want to bring him back and potentially hamper this core down the line, because I think Nembhard, I'm not sure if Nembhard's been paid or not. I think he might have done, but I wouldn't know for sure.
No, not sure.
So you're like, right, well, Nembhard's going to get a bag whenever he's up for renewal. They've got some nice little extra pieces on the side. Like TJ McConnell's been huge for this group. James Johnson as well, as a vet, not seeing any court time, but just instilling that veteran leadership in the locker room. I'm a big fan of it.
Well, just in case anything kicks off as well, if you've got James Johnson.
Oh, absolutely. You want to start anyone in the Indiana
We're good,
room,
lads. We're good.
Yeah, James Johnson rocks out and suddenly everyone shits themselves. So
even Giannis.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Rob, I can just to let you know about Nembhard. He penned a new 3-year contract last summer.
So he has been paid. I thought he might have done. I knew Nesmith got paid. I didn't sure if Nembhard got paid. So they're in a slightly easier position there. They don't have, because if Nembhard had another really good off-season run and still hadn't been paid, he could have been looking at a massive bag. And then Indiana it's the cost of success, isn't it? Yeah, you're successful and you've got a good team together, but then those players want paying. And as we have seen with the new CBA, you can really afford to keep about 2 or 3 of your group together before you got to start shipping pieces off and getting cheaper. So, look, Cleveland have just been incredibly unfortunate with injuries the last 2 years. They ran into the Celtics second round of last year. Donovan Mitchell goes down with a hamstring injury after game 1. So that just allows the Celtics to kind of weighed in on Darius Garland on the defensive end for Cleveland, and they kind of exposed him really. On the offensive end, Garland does so much, not so much as making the offense, just that second option in the backcourt.
Yeah.
That second option in the backcourt is that, right now, Indiana, they did give up a 48-point game to Donovan Mitchell. But I felt like it was almost a bit of a, he can't beat us on his own.
Yeah.
He can't beat us on our own. Like, if Garland's there, if Mobley was there, like, that's a completely different ball game. So Indiana, yes, they got lucky with there, but you need luck to win a championship. You need luck to get into the playoffs. You need luck to win playoff games. Like, I don't get why people want to now use it as, but X, Y, and Z Rangers. They're like, as you said, Matt, you can only play who's in front of you.
Yeah.
Like, where was all of this for the Celtics title run last year, where Porzingis missed the entirety of the second and third rounds and did not come back until game one of the finals? No one was talking about, the Celtics, how come none of these teams picked up more games against the Celtics? That wasn't the agenda then. So, look, Indiana, they've done their job. They've done their job, as a road team. Kind of the overall feeling is you want to try and steal one on the road. You want to try and just get one game going back home. Indiana have smashed out the park. They got both of them. If they can get game 3, I'm pretty sure Pacers fans will be gearing up for a second Eastern Conference Finals appearance in as many years. Although apparently word coming out as we record this is that Garland, Mobley, and Hunter are going through shoot around for Cleveland ahead of game 3. So Cleveland will definitely be hoping that all 3 of them can step back in. But yeah, look, I'm not surprised by Indiana being this good. Me and George, like I said, last year we saw it firsthand. Like, this is a really talented group. The way they play, they force you to speed up as well. They'll give up a bucket and they'll score on you in 7 seconds. And it's like, okay, keep going. Like, let's go. We can do this. We do this all season, mate. We're used to this. We can keep going. Haliburton, I do not think for one instance he's overrated. The Indiana front office swinging that trade for him. I mean, we can talk about how dumb it was from Sacramento side of things, but Indiana having the awareness of the Sabonis Turner front court not working, getting an actual point guard to kind of lead the team. And, they've allowed him to blossom and develop by giving him constant minutes. They saw the potential in him. So I'll give props to the Pacers front office because they deserve it. They got that trade. They've had some quality vets. TJ McConnell is one of those underrated players that will just work his backside off. Perfect mentors for Haliburton and Nembhard. As we mentioned, James Johnson, just the I don't give a fuck mentality. Proper. You go proper. You fight. You go to war for the guy sitting beside you and everyone else in that locker room. So look, I think unfortunately for Cleveland, I think the season is going to end up going up in smoke. I just don't think they're going to be able to overcome the injuries that have happened. I mean, watch them come back and win in 7 now, but I think Indiana, they've just got too much. There's too much momentum behind them right now. I think they're going to ride it into game 3. And once you're 3-0 up, you can pretty much book your ticket to the finals. So it's just unfortunate for Cleveland. 2 seasons in a row that they're getting derailed by injuries in the playoffs, but this is professional sports. Injuries happen. You can't really dictate the timing of them. You kind of just got to hope that it's not a serious injury. It doesn't last for as long as it looks, but unfortunately for Cleveland, it looks like it's coming at just the wrong time again.
Absolutely, mate. Like so, you need that bit of luck, don't you, bro, along the way? It doesn't look like it's with Cleveland much at the moment. But I don't know if the season's over. We'll wait and see. I mean, if Cleveland win the next 2, and then it's back to best of 3, isn't it? And everybody's going. What was everybody panicking about? But it's tough when you lose the first 2 games at home, and then you can't. It's an uphill task. Same situation, guys. Unfortunately, we come to the defending champs, Boston Celtics. Again, the away team took both games, guys. Knicks are up 2-0. The Knicks fans are in hysteria. Celtic fans wondering what happened. I might just sit back, guys, and just let you talk this one out, guys, because I'm sure you've got numerous thoughts. I don't know if you want to flip a coin to see who goes first. But, who wants to take a stab at this one?
This is painful. This is painful. Just the regular season is a good yardstick for many things, but playoff success is probably not one of them. I mean, you look, what was the Knicks record against the Cleveland Cavs, the Celtics, and the Thunder throughout the regular season? 0-10. They did not win a singular regular season game against the top three teams. I mean, credit to Thibodeau, credit to Tibbs, credit to that Knicks team. Like, they're playing well. They've locked in on defense. In the clutch, Mikal Bridges has come up with 2 defensive stops to get a 2-0 series lead. I thought me and George are well accustomed to the Celtics building big leads and then blowing them. Like, throughout the early years of the Tatum Brown partnership, it was, it was kind of flipping standard in a way. You'd build up a 15, 20-point lead, and I think it was that first half of the Ime Udoka season where we just kept blowing leads left, right, and center, and that's where probably the calls got as loud as they ever did for the two to be separated, and fortunately they weren't. But this is the thing with Joe Mazzulla and his and Mazzulla ball, as it kind of talks about. Yes, it does heavily rely on the 3-point shooting. So if you can knock down your 3-pointers, it's great. You're pretty much unbeatable. When you don't knock down your 3-pointers, it's ropey, it's sketchy. Porzingis has not played well this postseason. I mean, just being blunt, he just hasn't. Tatum and Brown have not been anywhere near their best. Tatum's last possession in game 2, I think, has been the talk of pretty much every single person on social media that's got NBA fandom in them. This is not what was expected. I think everyone was expecting it to be flipped. Everyone was expecting the Celtics to be 2-0 up, going to MSG, win the 3rd game, and like you say, Knicks are 1-2-3 Cancun at that point. But right now, it's the Knicks that have got the foot on the throat of the Celtics. I mean, what is it? We shot 25 from 100 or something like that. We're shooting 25% from 3 over the first 2 games of the playoff series. Like, in the grand scheme of things, you're just talking about a few more makes and the Celtics are up 2-zip. But playoffs don't deal in hypotheticals; they deal in reality. Reality is the Knicks got the stops they needed. They're 2-0 up. So, yeah, it's not a good time to be a Celtics fan. Knicks fans are loud. I mean, Knicks fans are always loud, considering they haven't won much in the most recent years. But they're even louder now because they've got a 2-0 series lead going back home. Yeah. The positive I can take from it is that the Celtics were the best road team in the NBA this year and put up almost a franchise great season, I think. I think it was the best road season in franchise history, or definitely top 3 in terms of road wins, and almost an NBA season record of wins on the road. So that gives me some solace and some comfort and some hope. But they've dug themselves such a massive hole losing the opening 2 games at home. And they have to, to win the series now, it's going to go minimum of 6. And I think everyone will be shocked if the Knicks don't win at least one of these games at MSG. So, we could be on the verge of seeing the defending champs knocked out in round 2. And then that would be quite a tumultuous off-season.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of question marks, Rob, if that is the case, isn't there? I think there already is. There's already rumours of cost cutting in terms of player personnel, but we're still dealing with this season. It's still not over yet. So, George, you've been sitting there very patiently, mate. Well done to you, sir. You may have the floor now, my friend.
So I'll just address, Rob, you are quite correct. This season, 33 wins on the road for the Celtics, most all time. Woo. That's all I can really say at this point. It's like you just said. It's like you just said there, mate. Realistically, there's no real correlation, but to that extent in the playoffs. As I said to you before this thing started, Matt, the one, apart from the 76ers, the one team in the East that I just could not ever forgive myself from letting us get beat by is the Knicks, of all teams. I would have rather lost to the Magic in round one than lose to the Knicks. I'm not even joking. I mean, where do I even start with what's gone wrong in these two games? Now, you can take the sort of optimistic look and say, well, the shot's just not been going down and, we're just sticking to what we know best. Or you can take the realistic view, which I always do, Matt, as you well know by now, and say that it is just pure and utter naivety or stupidity from Joe Mazzulla to change nothing at all. And the main thing is 8 minutes and 1 second in that fourth quarter, 0 points. Not a single point in 8 minutes in the fourth quarter. How many timeouts did Joe Mazzulla call in that 8 minute and 1 second window? None.
Maybe none. Yeah.
None. He called a timeout before it and then just let it happen. Just let it carry on. Because
the other two ain't winning.
Now, that says to me, again, you're either naive to just think that they're just going to get themselves out of it, or you're just stupid. Because if it's not working, you need to draw a play up, or you need to sit down and say, right, what I said to you 2 minutes ago, forget it, we're going to try this now. How many times do you see coaches take 3 timeouts in the space of 5 minutes, especially in the fourth quarter? All the time. Because you constantly need to change things, especially in a playoff game. Now, while he's doing, I mean, I don't know what he's doing, but while he's in this huddle, clearly not able to call a timeout properly, you're forgetting that Thibodeau is also getting a timeout. So he's able to still be speaking to his guys and coaching in a timeout, which is what you're supposed to do. The one thing I will say, and this is the only caveat, and I'm not making excuses because the 20-point blows in the two games just make this point a moot point. Brown is banged up. Tatum, we don't know what effect that's having on his wrist. However, that shouldn't really matter. I know the efficiency's been literally in the toilet in the first two games. When you are shooting the ball that poorly, you need to be driving to the rim. It's as simple as that. It's one of the oldest sayings in the book. You get taught it when you're 5 and 6 years old and you're playing little kids league, summer league basketball. Just get to the rim, get to the free throw, see your shot go down. It is the oldest saying in the book. But no, clearly Joe Mazzulla knows best, and you're going to ignore all the old rules and you are going to keep chucking them up and missing them. Something's got to give. And this is a team that we are expecting the very, very best out of every season. And yes, we've been patient in the past. We just won the championship. You are now expected to at least make the finals this season. That, bearing in mind, they've just sold the team as well. The Grausberg family have just sold the team.
Yeah.
This goes to summer, and new owners bought the team. He's going to be thinking, well, what have I paid all this money for? Because as soon as I've bought it, we've just flamed out at home to the Knicks in 2 games. I know I'm talking like we've lost the series. I'm not. I'm just getting all the frustration out from these first 2 games.
Yeah, man. Yeah, go. You're good, man.
You've got to look at that and think, well, I don't know if I can trust this guy. I want my own guy in there. How many times you see it, Matt? New ownership, they want their own guys in.
Yeah.
So irrespective, that might happen anyway. But I just don't understand, especially with the last play that Tatum had, where it was like a carbon copy of Mikal Bridges just coming along and yoink, I'm going to have that. Thank you. End game. Would you not look at that and think, well, it didn't work in game 1. So what we're going to do is nothing else has worked that we tried in game 1. So we're going to try the same last play again because it's definitely going to work this time. And You know what? Oh, we got a 3. We made a 3. Right, let's run up the other end of the ball. And then as soon as we get the ball again, we're going to shock them and we're going to do the exact same thing again. We're going to throw a 3 up. They're never going to see it coming. And it's just when you've gone out there, I know we all found it funny. You know, as one British politician once said, you're not laughing now, are you? Because it was funny when Joe Mazzulla was coming out here saying, we're going to break the record for how many threes we're going to throw. We're going to live by the 3, die by the 3. Yeah, congratulations. You've now told 31 teams in the league exactly how you're going to line up every single game and exactly what you're going to try and do. You've told them your game plan. And by doing it all season, you've now proved that that's the way you're going to play. Now, Charles Barkley said once upon a time, before the Warriors ended up winning all the things that they won, a floor team that lives by the perimeter will never win an NBA championship. Obviously, he was wrong. However, when it's executed like this Celtics team are executing it at the minute, this is the exact kind of thing he was talking about. If you relentlessly live on the perimeter and refuse to adapt to any sort of inside game, you will lose. And personally, the reason that I'm so annoyed is because I can't see it changing. I think it's just going to be the same. Just walk. You might as well put a blindfold on, walk out onto Madison Square Garden. You don't need to watch it because you know what he's going to do. It's going to be relentless 3 shooting. And the only way that we are going to win this series is if we just have, all of a sudden, we can shelve the first 2 games and go lights out from 3. If that happens, we kill the Knicks. But it is a massive if with the way that things are going at the minute. And I can't see it happening. 25% in game 1, 28% in game 2. It's not good enough. It's nowhere near good enough, especially when there's no inside game going on. You've got 2 of the best drivers to the basket in the league. You've got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They are 2 of the most elite players at getting to the rim, and you are not using it.
Does that hold up then, George, that you're thinking about Brown and Tatum and their health, their current health at the moment? Is that a product of that, do you think, or not? Well,
the only thing I'd say, Matt, is that if there's an issue with Tatum's shooting wrist, then surely you want him to shoot less. Brown, obviously, you know, it's a bit different because I suppose you are going to get more contact when you go to the rim and stuff like that. But I just don't understand why there's one man that I said to you a few weeks ago, Matt, he's my favourite player on this team. And you can guarantee, it doesn't matter what else is happening, he's going to put his numbers up. Derek White, every single time without fail. He is Mr. Consistent. He will always give you 15, 20 points every game without fail.
Yeah. How many threes did he attempt in game 1?
Well, yeah, a lot. As everybody did.
Mate, but he's putting up Steph Curry numbers, mate. I mean, you know, is that where you want Derek White to be, mate? I don't know. I wouldn't.
My point is this is what he's being told to do, and he's going out there and he's doing it. So you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. And I mean, realistically, that that is pretty much the only thing that he can do offensively. He's not that good really at getting inside. I mean, he can do it, but against the playoff Knicks Tibbs-led defense, it's not going to be very easy, is it?
That falls more onto Drew Holiday. Drew driving and playing like the post game. That's more Drew's strength than it is Derek White's.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think that for us, we need to win game 3. If we do not win game 3, it's over. I mean, this is already right on the edge. We are so close to the season being over. Dropping 2 at home, it just can't happen. Do I think this Celtics team is capable of winning 2 games back to back in Madison Square Garden? Absolutely. Without question, we are capable.
You're still the biggest favourite to win this series, guys. So it's not doom and gloom yet, is it? I don't know.
But Matt, the one thing I will say is that there's no context, is there, to that? And we know how many teams go 2-0 down at home. What is it like? You've got like a 98-point-something% chance of getting eliminated in the series.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough ask. The one bit of positivity is the Celtics went 2-0 down when they were the heavily fancied team against Chicago Bulls in 2018.
Yes.
Or 2017. And they rode it back, got a bit of luck with injuries and things like that, and ended up winning 4-2. Could happen again. You never know.
You went 3-0 down one year, guys. I mean, and got forced to game 7.
True.
I mean,
Which
you don't want to be in that situation.
We would have won that one. We would have won that one if Tatum injured his ankle on the first fucking play of the game.
I guess we'll never know, Rob. I guess we'll.
I guess we'll know. I mean,
fair point, mate. Fair point.
The thing I'll take from it is the fact that we haven't shot well yet, which obviously is it's moot point when you're down 2-0. But I get completely what George just said there. But we won a championship playing this way. So I understand why it's not being changed, from that sort of things.
We did have this conversation, Rob, didn't we, on a past show where I was saying, all these 3-point attempts, and that's what you said, didn't you? We won playing this way,
Exactly. So it's I can understand why it kind of the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I think everyone on the Celtics accepts that you're going to go when you're going to go through cold stretches, they are going to be extremely fucking cold. You just got to kind of hope that your other game can live up to it. The one thing that I do want to see more of, I do want to see that inside game. We started that way in game 2, shots closer to the basket, and trying to get the inside game going first, because one of the entire things that the Celtics offense has been precipitated upon is picking up a weak point in the defense. Again, I think we spoke about this, Matt. I mean, the weakest defender on the Knicks in open space is Jalen Brunson. It's as simple as that. It's Jalen Brunson. Yeah. So what is the entire Celtics offensive philosophy? It's cross screens, pick and rolls to get Brunson switched onto 1J and let them drive at him. That will force a defense to help. You then, based on the lineups you've got out, there's basically only one lineup where you're not going to have 5 out, which is where Luke Cornett's on the floor, because Luke Cornett doesn't shoot threes anymore. Every other lineup the Celtics put out is pretty much every guy can shoot the 3. So you want to get the defense into rotation, kick it out to an open 3-point shooter, an open 3-point shot, you're banking it goes down. So that is where I'm not okay with it, but it's kind of I see what they're trying to do. The no timeout thing, I agree with George. They're like, I'm sorry, you can't go. Even if you go 3 minutes without a basket, I'm sorry, you have to call a timeout. I'm not having it. You can't go 8 minutes without scoring and not score a timeout. I mean, you watch the amount of social clips. Sometimes Mizzou doesn't even talk in a timeout, and I get that because he trusts the players to do it for him, and I think that's a sign of good coaching that you don't have to have control all the time. The players can talk about themselves. This is a very experienced group. They've been here before. Tatum and Brown have been in Boston their entire careers. Horford's in his second stint. White's been around for a few years now. Holiday's in his second year, but is a vet around the league. This group of guys has done it before. They know what's needed. So I completely get that Mazzulla doesn't need to talk in every single timeout. However, there are crucial points where, as a head coach, you just kind of have to say, fuck it. It has to be done. And the fourth quarter of game 2 was definitely one of those points. As I mentioned, first off, Porzingis has been terrible these playoffs, and he's openly admitted it. He's openly admitted that he's been terrible.
Wait, do we even know what's wrong with Porzingis? They just keep saying an illness. There's not really saying any more than that, are they?
But he had a viral illness around February, March time that he missed around 10 games or so. They never got to the bottom of it. He just kind of just recovered from it.
Saying he's trouble with his endurance and stuff, which doesn't sound great, does it at all? So you're losing him as well, really, a lot.
Yeah, so it's as you say, Brown banged up, doesn't quite have the explosiveness he has, and I can't say enough how much impact a fully healthy Jaylen Brown has.
In the first half, though, with game 2, Rob, sorry to interrupt. I thought he was going to have a big game. He was very good in the first half, but then kind of faded as the second half went on.
We saw it in the Orlando series. You could tell the explosiveness is not there, which is unfortunate because, yes, Jaylen Brown at 70% of the player he is still very good, but there's a reason why he was Finals MVP. That's at 100%. He is that good. So,
absolutely.
Look, like you say, the caveats you can take from it is they've shot terribly. Tatum and Brown have not stepped up yet in this series. Neither has Porzingis. And you've shot poorly. And the game 1 you lost in overtime, and game 2 you lost on the final possession.
Yeah. So you've been in games, guys.
So-
like
so
you said,
yeah,
even though you've
games have been close.
Yeah,
Games have been
exactly,
close,
yeah.
and it's like I say, it's just a couple more makes, and those games look completely different. If it is 2 or 3 more makes, then we're here. Celtics have a 2-0 lead, and we're like, oh, well, we all predicted it. Blah blah blah. Celtics can get ready to go to the Eastern Conference Finals again. The thing is, this group, and particularly Jason Tatum, I know he's getting clowned a lot, as he just kind of is. He's the poster boy. As soon as anything for him goes wrong, he gets the most hate, I think, that I've seen from being a basketball fan. Obviously, LeBron has had hate his entire career. But from when I was a basketball fan since Tatum got drafted, I've not seen a guy in the last few years get nearly as much hate as he has. Tatum, when his back is against the wall, is a scary player to deal with. He just kind of locks in. You know, I've seen radio shows going about, does Jason Tatum have any moments? 46 points on the road against Milwaukee, Game 6. The most points in a Game 7 history with 51. And he scored 16 points in the fourth quarter against Philadelphia to send it to that Game 7.
Yeah.
This guy dropped pretty much a 35-point triple-double to close out a finals win. And you're telling me he's not clutch? Like, the fuck are you on about?
I'll be honest, most of the games that I remember, Tatum's best games are away from home. I don't know if that's just our remembrance.
He says his favourite game is Game 3. Because it's the first game on the road. You're in somebody else's house.
Yeah.
So, you know, ultimately, there is a certain amount of blind faith I have in this team because of what they did last year.
Yeah.
But this series is going to have to go 6 games. It's the first series that's going 6 games since 2023, where it went to 7 against Miami. So we'll see. I think it's definitely still on. Like I say, it's just so much harder than it should have been. So much harder than I think everyone was expecting. But this is the beauty of the NBA playoffs. You know, you get these mad storylines. I mean, we talked about in the last series, who'd have had Indiana being 2-0 up against the number 1 seed Cavs, who had a fucking record offensive rating, like nigh on 70 wins for a season. Like, you know, everyone else on that would have had, Cleveland will be up 2-0 after the 2 games, and they're not. So, it should hopefully make some good basketball. I agree with George. Game 3 is a must-win for the Celtics. It has to be. You've got to get that to 2-1. Then you start planting the doubt in New York's mind. It's like, oh, shit, if they're back. And the thing is, for New York, every single team in the league has found this out. All it takes is one game for the Celtics to shoot slightly above average from 3, and everyone's going, shit. Like, they're going to start clicking. And that's where it goes hand in hand. If the 3-point shot starts falling, teams have to close out harder. You leave space for pump fakes, drives in behind. It sucks Sam Hauser hasn't been effective this playoffs yet. He missed Game 2 with an ankle sprain. I doubt he'll be back for Game 3. Peyton Pritchard's not been good enough yet for 6th man of the year. So, you know, Bazzuda's having to go a little bit deeper to search for options. But this is playoffs. This is playoff basketball. Like, someone has to step up. Ultimately, it does start with the 2 J's. It starts with them. It then bleeds out to the rest of the starting 5, and it bleeds out to everyone else. So the Jays need to come out and set the tempo. They need to set the standard in game 3. And if the Celtics can pull that one off, then I think calmer heads will return.
Okay. 2 points for Tatum at half-time, Game 2. Don't know if that's going to cut it, lads, is it? I don't think. Pretty safe to say. George, did you have a retort?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that. So, 2 things. So, first, remember the stat: 33 wins on the road. That means we won more games on the road than we did at home.
Yes.
So that already in the modern NBA, that is of teams that have won 50 or more games in a season. It's never been done before. Number 2, right on Jason Tatum, he's averaging 24. This is for his career, 24, 7, and 4 in a regular season. And playoffs. Now let's look at in elimination games. He's averaging 27, 9, 6, a steal and a block, shooting 44% from the field and 39% from 3. So this fake talk about him not having the bottle when it matters the most, it is possibly one of the biggest lies that gets peddled all the time and I never understand because the stats are right there, which completely disproves it. He elevates his game when he's facing elimination. So it really confuses me. It obviously annoys me more being a Celtics fan, where he's probably my favorite player, period. So it's going to annoy me more, but I just don't understand it. I agree with you, Rob. I've never seen this level of hate for a superstar. Possibly outside of LeBron James, I don't think I've seen this level of hate. And with LeBron, you put it down to jealousy. That's the obvious, in my opinion. Surely that's the only reason. He's quite clearly one of the greatest who's ever touched a basketball. With Tatum, I don't really know what to put it down to. I really don't.
Jealousy, and the franchise he plays for.
Possibly.
No one likes people that are great. You just want to hate on them, just want to bring it down because of jealousy, and the fact he plays on the arguably most recognizable NBA franchise, if not the second most recognizable NBA franchise. It's as simple as that.
I still think, though, Paul Pierce. People love Paul Pierce, even if they weren't Celtics fans.
True.
So I think a lot of it is down to the social media era. Everyone's become so much more comfortable with it being a social media era that you can jump on Twitter, Instagram, and say stuff behind a profile picture and not have to justify it. And we get people jumping on these talk shows, going chatting the shit that they do just for clicks and attention. There's a very unpopular former Celtic that spouts a lot of shit on ESPN.
I think who that is.
Who was constantly talking about Tatum and Brown needs to be split up, blah blah blah. Then they won the chip, and we're like, I knew they were going to do it. It's like, pick your fucking side and stick to it. You said Tatum and Brown need to be split up, so you can't fucking now come back and say, no, I was right. Look, the thing with this Celtics thing, the thing with the Celtics franchise has been patience. With the Jays, there have been countless amount of times they could have pulled the trigger on this Jay partnership and gone, no, this is not working. We're splitting it up. They almost got close to it. They have dangled Jaylen Brown in trade packages for Kevin Durant when Kevin Durant was with the Nets.
Yeah,
but the Nets turned it down. Thank fuck for that because they got a ring. But I think it's just patience that needed. These two have been through, I think, pretty much every single scenario you could think of. They've gone through a Game 7 victory to get to the finals, a Game 7 loss that means they miss out on the finals, a final series loss, a final series win, basically swept in the first round, a sweep in the first round win, winning the second round, losing the second round. These guys we'll put it this way, Celtics legends have only really come across when they've been into their early to mid 30s, they get into top 10s in sort of franchise records. Tatum and Brown have not reached 30 yet. Jason Tatum is already in the top 10 for franchise scoring, and Jaylen Brown is in the top 15. Jason Tatum has the most playoff points before turning 27. More than Kobe, more than Jordan, more than LeBron, more than Giannis, more than Luka. And you're still giving him hate. Just say you are fucking jealous of the greatness you are witnessing and the fact he plays for the Celtics and fucking deal with it. So I had to get out of the way because it winds me up so much. Everyone goes, Tatum's not this, Tatum's not that. When in reality, every single other fucking team, even the Oklahoma City Thunder, would say, oh, Jason Tatum's available. Yes, let's fucking give up everything for him because he's that fucking good. I can get it from the Brooklyn fans in particular because you traded us the picks that turned into the Jays, and you had to watch that. You had to watch them win a ring, while you go chase a rebuild. So
tough one for them guys.
Look, they the championship last year. I think if the championship didn't happen last year, then I think you have a very legitimate case for breaking the Jays up. But they got it done, and now I think they will stay together for a very long time, possibly until the end of their careers. They may never leave Boston. So it's just about the patience with this group. How many times do we see it? I mean, Matt, you could attest to this as a Suns fan. Front office and ownership not having patience.
Yep.
It's it's a wonderful thing, you know. Like I could go on a massive tangent about how we got to where we are in the first place. I'm not going to. Everyone can do their own research on it. But long story short, it was patience, developing talent, and then trading it when the time was right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that's the way. I'm not saying the trading when the time is right part is going to happen or should happen. It probably will, based on the CBA. But this group has been through shit together, and especially the Jays. They've been through a lot of shit together. And so if there's two guys I would want when my team's back up against the wall, it's those two, knowing they've come out the other side of it before.
Yeah.
You know, like George has pointed out to there, when Jason Tatum's facing elimination, it's a different beast. It's a different beast, and he's gonna have a point to prove going into MSG in game 3. So
big game 3 coming up, guys. 8:30. Nice UK tip off for us UK guys. So
is that tonight or tomorrow night? Is that tomorrow or
tomorrow? Yeah.
Good. I can watch.
The one last point, Matt, I'll just make is obviously I have to just remind myself as well, because I've said it before anything even happened. It is harder than it has ever been before to repeat. So I'm not expecting, I don't want people to hear what I've got to say and think, oh, you know, it's entitlement, you're expecting to win. I'm not expecting to win it. But it's the fashion that we're going out in at the minute that I don't like. And the fact that it's the fucking Knicks. It's the fucking Knicks of all teams.
Is that the thing that hurts the most, you?
I don't like it. But, you know, look, at the end of the day, let's be positive, right? The Knicks, if any team in this playoffs that are remaining is going to crumble, it is going to be the New York Knicks. So if they don't, then no team's going to crumble. And like you sort of said, Rob, get a win, they'll start thinking, oh, you know, believe me, if we win game 3 and then start off well in game 4, we've seen that Madison Square Garden crowd turn like stale, rotten milk in the past. One thing that we've got to keep our eye on the ball with and say, look, win game 3. Everything should take care of itself, because all we've got to do is just keep the pressure on, because those fans are just the biggest idiots I've ever set eyes on. You know, the way they celebrated after winning game 2. All right, fair enough. You can celebrate, it's no problem. But they were acting like they've just won a championship, and that's what I don't like. There's no class in that fan base.
When you've been so starved of success for so long,
I don't care.
I don't know.
Let them starve for a bit longer.
Well, are you giving the Knicks any credit, guys, for
I'll give them credit. Like, they've stepped up when needed to. They've got the job done in games 1 and 2. They have a 2-0 series lead. I'll give them credit for that. But you know, it's more so the fact they've done history to do it. You know, no team would ever overturn, I think, a 20-point deficit to win a playoff game, and they've done it twice in 2 games. Fair fucking dues. But you know, ultimately, what has been the Knicks' downfall in the postseason so far with Tibbs? You can't get out of round 2. You can get through round 1, but you can't get out of round 2.
Yeah.
Until you've got 4 wins on the board, you know, if you don't get this series win, you don't have a future, because Brooklyn have all your fucking picks. Brooklyn have all your fucking picks. So maybe there could be some pressure that could be applied to them in terms of, you know, yes, you're 2-0 up, so there's that urgency to go win because of, you know, what's on the other side. If not, you know, they have a very expensive roster. They're lucky that Brunson went and took a pay cut, but pretty soon they're going to be staring down the barrel of the CBA as well. And, you know, them, Milwaukee, Phoenix, they're all in very, very similar positions of not having own draft capital, you know. Yeah, sorry, Matt. That's the second time you've been a low blow.
Cheers. What the fuck did I
do? But you know, like it's been well talked about with Milwaukee now. The fact that Dame is now probably going to be out for the majority of next season. You have no good young players to kind of build around. You have no draft capital because you traded it all the way to try and extend your window. Brook Lopez is a free agent. You can't really afford to bring him back because of the CBA. Like, Milwaukee could be on a pretty quick downward spiral. Maybe, I mean, that's reading way too far in the future. And I'm just bitter at this point, trying to fuck the Knicks over. But
well, you know how you say Mazzulla's got his way of doing things, and he's not going to change it, and he just keeps doing it over again. I mean, Tibbs is another guy who does the exact same with players' minutes and stuff. He has his ways. And that's it. And
because I'm not an NBA head coach, so I'm not going to tell an NBA head coach how to change minutes or what. Everyone's got their own opinion.
Mikal Bridges' minutes is over the 2 games 46.9 minutes a game. I mean, what of them overtime? Fair enough, but man, the guy, you're literally pushing the boundaries on how much a player can actually.
I was going to say, and this is like you mentioned it there, like Knicks are playing with fire in terms of minutes. I mean, it is working for them so far, but
it come to a halt last year, didn't it? That's how the downfall was. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Matt, when you think about it, there's 2 things that leads to. It leads to burnout, where you've got nothing left to give because you've just been used up for every ounce of energy you've got. Or 2, it leads to quite serious muscle injuries.
Yep.
They've been unscathed so far. I know Brunson sort of rolled his ankle in that Pistons series, but the amount of time that they're out there for, if they picked up one pretty bad injury, it could flip the whole thing on its head. If Bridges, for example, I know obviously he's got an exemplary injury record, but like we've seen with players in the past, it only takes one, and
they haven't got much margin for error, Jordan, have they? No. If one of those guys goes out, we're struggling, aren't we? Definitely. So, guys, anything else to add before we head out, or have you done moaning about the Celtics?
Yeah, I've got my piece out. I'm good.
It's a good therapy session, guys.
Yes.
Actually, just a few more points, Matt. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, an extra 45 minutes so we can just keep this going.
We can go part 2, guys, if you want.
Nah, it's we'll see what happens. I mean, no matter what, it's playoff basketball. It's the best time of the year, so
absolutely,
we'll see what happens.
Well said, well said. But thank you very much, gents, for dropping in. It's a pleasure as always. Hopefully, we'll see you again very soon. Further down the road, maybe we might be into round 3. Who knows? So, George, do you want to tell people where they can follow you before we head out, sir?
Yeah, you can follow. Oh, it's wrong. I do this every time. There it is. Jump over Twitter, X, whatever you want to follow it. Just jump over there, give me a follow, and you can come and rub it in if we lose game 3 tomorrow. I'll let you, Knicks fans.
Very nice. And Rob, do you want to let people where they can follow you, man, or hit you up?
Yeah, Rob Rush 02 on X, capital R's. That's where you can find me. More often than not, I'm just talking about how well the Celtics are. So, that's why I've been pretty quiet over the last week.
Been decidedly inactive for the past couple of days, but
yeah, one of them ones.
No,
you understand all about that. You're a Suns fan. You've been quiet all season.
I've got literally no comeback to that whatsoever. So thanks for that, Rob. Always a pleasure. But thanks a lot, gents, for coming on. So you'll be able to watch this back on YouTube, guys, and you will be able to also listen back to it in podcast form on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Stay tuned on the socials, guys, also for when we'll be doing the next episode. So thanks very much for tuning in, guys, and we will see you again very soon. Take care.